It's like,
Is Steve
yeah.
Markovic near there?
It's a little bit closer to Steve than I am now. We're probably 20 minutes from Steve.
He's further north or south?
He's further north.
Yeah. So you're right in Fort Myers still, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be interesting, Asaad, because most people don't know your background, and they just know you from Primerica, and you were an engineer. But they don't know your family background, which I'm excited for everyone to know, and how that small business cratered, and you were forced into the business to take care of your family
Right.
and support them, which is amazing because, right, and you're going to hear the math in a little bit. I'm going to be, as I open it up for you. We're also praying for Bill Whittle. I guess he's getting better. I saw a picture of him the other day in the hospital. So, his son said all our prayers are working. And that's heartwarming because he's had he's got me in a tizzy about all this stuff and all the stuff that's been going on with him, because it's a fallen warrior is not a good thing to have. We're starting about 2 minutes, everybody.
I'm sorry, what was that?
We're going to be starting in about 2 minutes.
Okay, great. You still have a house full of kids and grandkids?
Yeah, you probably might see them back there. Yeah, my daughter, they're moving to Fort Worth, and they got a house there. They finally decided on staying in Texas and moving to Fort Worth. So I'm teaching my grandkids y'all and fixing. In Texas, they're not fixing, it's fixing. I'm fixing too. And y'all, how y'all doing? And wearing cowboy hats and boots and stuff like that, and they like that. Which is more Fort Worth than it is Dallas, by the way. It's called Cowtown. They're going to be living about a half a mile from Josh Huffman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right near the TCU campus. Josh has got a fabulous $1 million house there.
So my son, who's about to get engaged probably next 6 months or a year, his to-be fiance, her whole family's in Fort Worth. He was there last month with them. So we're gonna be related by geography.
It's the place everyone's going to. All the young people are going to it. So, Asaad, why don't we go ahead and get started? And I want to welcome everyone to our Primerica call, where we want to target certain groups of people that have been grossly affected by this COVID problem that we're all experiencing in the United States. Personally, but not business-wise, our business is blossoming, Asaad, like yours is. And I read the article the other day, Asaad, where 3,200 small businesses in Dallas-Fort Worth area in the last 6 months have gone under. 151,000 people are unemployed in North Texas. So there's 3,200 small businesses that most people don't know what a small business goes through and the struggles they go through. So talk about your family background in Detroit and how that family background affected your joining our company, and how it eased the burdens of your family and what they had to go through before you joined Primerica.
Well, thank you so much for this honor to share, Bill. And, first of all, what's interesting is as Primericans, we always kind of inherently, we bash corporate America and talk about the dream of one day owning your own business. Well, what's comical, not really understood by most people in Primerica or most people in corporate America, is most families that own small businesses absolutely hate their small business. And they would literally grab their chest and threaten heart attack like Fred Sanford used to do at the very thought of their kids ever following them in business. Bill used to say, If you ask somebody, what do you do and do you like it and you want your kids to follow in your footsteps, most people say, I'll kill them. And I would say for a small business owner family, it's exactly the same thing. So growing up, they called a family business for a reason. When I was 9 years old, I grew up I started working in my dad's grocery store. He was partners with his brothers. It was a tough life growing up. We had family, grocery store. It was open 9 till 9, Monday through Saturday, Sundays until 6 p.m. People do not own small businesses. Small businesses own them. And the whole idea of Primerica and freedom lives here, freedom does not live in small business owners' families. I'll tell you that. I remember as a family, we had family dinner every night at 10 p.m. There was no other time to do it. I remember growing up, I hated Christmas because Christmas meant Christmas Eve was the #1 shopping day of the year. And we were open an extra hour later, and it was busy all day. And it was like a 13-hour day, and you wanted to sleep all through Christmas. Even as a child, I hated Christmas because we owned our own business. But I wanted to start off by sharing the genius of Art Williams further than any of us can even imagine. So let me just kind of share my screen. I got a little presentation.
Art Williams founded our company back in 1977.
That's correct, yes. So Art Williams, exactly. He was a football coach. He founded our company. Oops, 1 second. Wrong screen. 1 second, guys. Here we go. So he founded our company. And here's why he founded our company. Let me share this real quick. I think it works now. Perfect, great. So here's the deal. So my passion, I've done well in Primerica, thank God. Now it's, I think, 76 regional vice presidents across the country. My family's been paid close to $19 million here. And my passion outside of Primerica is actually doing Christian missions work. So I've been able to travel the world. And when I'm there, I pray and I honestly cry out to God. I ask him to give me what's called Isaiah chapter 45, hidden treasures, like he gave to Cyrus. It's always good to find visible treasures, but hidden treasures are hidden for a reason. Only God can reveal them to you. So this is what the Lord showed me, is that Art Williams was an absolute genius and years ahead of his time. What Art Williams figured out, and if you can follow my notes here, is if a teacher marries a mechanic, they both have full-time jobs, but they're not making enough money. If a nurse marries an engineer, they live in a nicer neighborhood, but they're just as broke. They're not making enough money to retire and educate their kids and get debt free. And so if any of these type of couples want to make more money, what are their options? Get a side job at McDonald's for 20 hours a week for a check for $400. Literally, what are their options? And in Art's genius, he came to the conclusion that most people in America don't make enough money. If they want to increase their income, there's only one real choice, and that's the money business. There's more money in money than anything else. It's the most residual rich business in the world. So what's going to fix the American family's household lack of income out there is to tap into the money business. So somebody working part-time can make a couple thousand extra dollars per month, launch a career that can pay them hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars. So in essence, I call that opening up a financial service arm for their families. Art had that idea, that stroke of genius, going on almost 44, 45 years ago now. And what's crazy is the Fortune 500 companies, the guys that employ all the people from Harvard and Yale and Princeton, all the smart people, they were 20 years behind Art Williams. They copied Art. I think that Nike owes Art Williams a lot of money because they copied his do it speech. I think corporate America owes Art Williams a lot of money because they copied his financial service arm concept. So around 20 years ago, Fortune 500 companies figured out there was a problem. And the problem was, we'll make money during good economies, but just never seems like enough. And we may not survive recessions or tough economies. And they put their smartest people around a boardroom from Harvard, Yale, and Princeton. They thought about it and talked about it. And they all came up with exactly the same solution for the problem. Their problem was, let's keep our core business the same, let's open up a financial service arm on top of our core business, irregardless what our core business is, because there's more money and money. It's the most residual rich business in the world. And I can go down the list, but I'm from Detroit, and you ask 1,000 people, what does General Motors do? They're all going to tell you General Motors makes cars, and that's true. But us from Detroit, we know better. We know that GM, Ford, and Chrysler, and all of them, we've been permanently bankrupt over 20 years ago. It was just for making cars. They all figured, let's open up a financial service arm. And 20 years ago, GM started GMAC, maybe 25 years ago now. And in Michigan, GMAC is not just car loans. They do insurance. They do mortgages. They do a bunch of financial products, and has become their biggest moneymaker is their financial service arm. You ask 1,000 people, what does General Electric do? Everyone's going to tell you light bulbs, kitchen appliances, equipment in hospitals, and that's all true. But their biggest moneymakers, Genworth Insurance and GE Capital. Dell Computers from Texas. Everyone thinks they make computers. I don't think they'd be in business right now if it wasn't for Dell Financial. So Art Williams figured out that every middle-class family needs a financial service arm to make more money, because otherwise they won't make it. Fortune 500 companies copied Art, and they have the resources to start their financial service arm. So what that's done now is it's only left out one category of people. So households have access to a financial service arm through Primerica. Fortune 500 companies can do it because they're large enough to structure it. The only group of people left in this country that don't have access to a financial service arm, or didn't think they did, is the small business owners. Let's talk about that for a second. This is interesting. First of all, nobody, especially during this type of recession, they need to make more money. It's required to survive, okay? At the end of the day, Primerica shows small business owners how they can copy the big boys and open a financial service arm. And by the way, this strategy, it sounds weird. It sounds strange. What do you mean? I own a plumbing business. What do you mean? I own an HVAC business. What do you mean? I own a restaurant. I own a chiropractic office. I'm a dentist. I have a convenience store. What do you mean, me offering financial products? The idea sounds weird and sounds strange, but it's not. Literally, almost every Fortune 500 company does it. So this is what's interesting. Most small business owners literally forbid their children from following their footsteps. So for example, I grew up in a family where we owned a grocery store. I worked there since I was 9 years old. My dad worked there, my mom worked there, my uncles, my aunts, my sister, my cousins, we all worked there. It was a family business. But all the three owners, the brothers, insisted on all the kids going off and getting a college degree and getting a good job, not to follow them in their footsteps of owning that business. You know, I don't know if you ever heard of a guy named Mario Arizon before. He's a $2 million earner. Let me tell you how Mario got recruited, okay? Somebody prospected his dad, who was a struggling small business owner. And Mario was a son who was about 18, 19 years old at the time. And Mario's dad said, listen, I know some people. I see this as a good business. I have no time, but I'm going to get my son Mario to do this. So Mario's dad called Mario. Now, if you're taking notes, it's a good thing to write down. Okay, let me tell you the genius one-liner that Mario's dad used to recruit Mario into Primerica. You ready for this? Mario calls dad and said, Mario, I found a business. I want you to do it. Mario asked this question. Okay, Dad, what kind of business is it? Now, get ready to write this down, one-liner down. This was the ultimate recruiting close. And here's how Mario's dad responded to that question. Shut up. That's all he said, was shut up. Okay, meaning it doesn't matter. You're my kid. And here's how a lot of small business owners, how we educate them to look at this opportunity. Small business owners, you guys, are rich in contacts. Mario was an 18, 19-year-old kid. I was a 22-year-old kid. Okay, neither one of us had contacts or credibility with any contacts, but our dads did. And when I was getting started, it was my dad and my uncle that opened doors for me and scheduled appointments, okay? So small business owners are rich in contacts. They're rich in relationships, okay? They don't just have their family and friends and neighbors. You know what else they have? They have their customer base. They've got their they got their vendors. They got a whole bunch of people they give business to. They're constantly meeting people all the time. And if you ever recruited a small business owner, it just doesn't work out for them to come to all the meetings and do all the stuff and do the field trainer. But somebody in their family needs to open up a financial service arm to parlay and leverage all their connections into a money-making opportunity, because currently their small business is not a very good money-making opportunity, okay? They're rich in their ability to take risks. Almost every time I do a recruiting interview with somebody with a corporate mindset, it's always, well, how much is your hourly wage, okay? How would you guys provide health insurance? Small business owners never ask about that. They don't care about that. They just want opportunity, and they love to parlay and open up some other kind of some other kind of business for their family to own, okay? But what they are is they're poor in time. So if they're poor in time, the way you recruit small business owners is you leverage somebody in their family to launch a financial service arm, which is not a weird or strange idea. It's what every Fortune 500 company did. When someone says, I can't do this, I don't have time, we should be quick to point out that when General Motors opened GMAC, nobody who was an engineer or an assembler began doing insurance and mortgages. It was a totally separate division. And the same thing is true. This could be a feeding frenzy, creating opportunities for the financial service arm run by somebody else in the family. So I'm going to be very specific with you now, and we're going to talk about some different types of small businesses out there and what the angle should be. So Jesus made a very genius comment years ago. He said, you're going to go become fishers of men. And one thing I learned about fishing, because I don't know much about fishing, but the way you make an expert fisherman angry is if you ask him a question, so what kind of bait do you use to catch fish? That makes him angry. You know why? Because he's going to ask you, what do you mean, what kind of bait do I use? What kind of fish are we trying to catch? How deep is the water? What's the conditions? Is there a current? Is there, I didn't know, but they're experts. They want to know all the conditions before they tell you what kind of bait you should use. I don't believe you say the same exact words if you're trying to recruit a 19-year-old waitress as you are a 55-year-old engineer. They're two different types of people. So I'm just going to give you some examples of how to be fishers of small business owners. So here we go. Let's just say hair salons for a second. And I want you to think about this for a second. What industry has got hit worse than hair salons in the last 6 months? They've been devastated. They've been crushed. Well, what if they put a little sign on their counter saying, ask us how to give your insurance premiums and your debt balances a haircut? And then they're thinking, now hold on, they're thinking, well, most of my clients are not going to want help with their finances or opportunity. All we need, so you know how when you go into a doctor's or dentist office, before you can see the doctor or the dentist, you have to fill a little questionnaire, and you got to check box of where it hurts. All you need is a basic questionnaire saying, are you interested in a free financial needs analysis, a part-time opportunity to make extra money, a full-time career change, or do you know somebody interested in help with their finances or looking for opportunity? That little questionnaire on their counter next to this little sign, here's what's crazy. Think about how many hours a day, how many people they have to see over the course of an entire week just to make a living, okay? If only one person a week responds to that sign, if you will, all of a sudden they're making more money, more money off that one person a week than all those people they just met for a haircut or a hairstyle. And Bill Orender and I, for our haircuts, we go to the express lane for 12 hairs or less. That's a whole nother story, okay? And Art Williams too, so we're in good company. Anyway, mechanic shops. My favorite word that describes Jesus is the word compassionate. The Bible says when he saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion. You know what I figured out about mechanic shops? Is guess who goes there? People are having car issues. And guess who wants to be there? Absolutely nobody. Nobody ever wants to go to the mechanic shop because there's an unexpected and unwanted expense. Okay, the reason, when we think about compassion, the Bible says when Jesus saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion. He was not moved with compassion because he looked at people's faces. He was moved with compassion because he felt the hurt inside of their hearts, right? So what if every time someone goes to a mechanic shop, you know what they always do? They always stick out a little piece of paper, say, this is what's going to cost to fix your car, with a stoic face, right? That's what they do. And what typically happens on the other end is someone's turning yellow and purple and angry and ready to cry because it's an unexpected, unwanted expense that people don't want, right? So what if we taught a mechanic shop owner how to be more compassionate? What does that look like? Well, listen, here's what's going to cost to fix your car. However, I have compassion for you. Let's go ahead and get your car fixed, but I want to have my financial service arm meet with you, talk to you the next day or two to show you how to pay less for your insurances, less for debt, free up some money, get you saving right, and just so this unexpected financial expense won't hurt you as badly as you thought it would. Okay, so all people consider car repairs an unexpected, unwanted expense. Mechanic shop owners can now demonstrate compassion with a free financial needs analysis. Now, all people want, you guys, is for somebody to understand how they feel. Once we get a mechanic shop owner to understand this, and the fact that he can now, by having somebody in the family or friend or somebody get licenses, and at the very least a split sale, now they're making money. They're making money off all these people coming in for work, okay? What about jewelry store owners? Do you think they've been hit hard this pandemic and this lockdown? Who in the heck is buying jewelry right now, right? People are just trying to, I think, pay their bills. I think they say that 80% of households, their incomes are reduced, devastated, or gone, okay? Reduced, devastated, or gone. So bottom line is a jewelry store does wedding sets as well. They do anniversary gifts, okay? And guess what? Approximately 50% of marriages end up in divorce. The number one cause of divorce is fighting about money and finances. So what if the jeweler can say, look, I want you to enjoy your wedding rings, your wedding set, but I also want you to enjoy your marriage. So here's a free gift certificate I want to be the first person to give you a wedding present, a gift certificate for a free financial needs analysis. You're going to sit down with our financial expert. They're going to show you how to get your finance on the same page so you can enjoy your wedding, jewelry, and enjoy your actual marriage, okay? So we can go on now with this. I'll give you a couple more. What about chiropractors? In my chiropractor's office, okay, there's a sign on the wall. And it says, our finances, a pain in your backside. Get a free financial adjustment. Get the kinks and pains out of your finances. So what does that look like? I asked my chiropractor a question. I said, do you believe in getting people healthy? He said, what do you think? I got these supplements here. We do chiropractic adjustments. I said to him, what's, according to the American, I got a question for you. Maybe you know, maybe you don't, but I'll let you know. I said, according to the American Medical Association, what's the number one root cause of high blood pressure, diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, even suicides? And he said, stress. I said, that's right. What's the number one source of stress in America? He said, money. I said, exactly right. I said, you can get someone's back in perfect alignment, but my goodness, if their finances are a train wreck and they're always stressed out because their finances, then they have no chance. They have no chance of ever being healthy. Does that make sense, you guys? So bottom line is, so you know what happens typically? Somebody hurt their back in their home or whatever. They go to the chiropractor, and the chiropractor says, look, you have to come in 3 times a week for a while to get you straight. And like, how much is that going to cost? And my health insurance doesn't cover it. And they don't know how they're going to pay for it. They just kind of stare at each other. Well, instead, the reception should hand out that free questionnaire. Would you like a free financial analysis, show you how to pay less for your insurances and debt and free up money? And then fill that out and then meet with us, and then we can share the commission, possibly recruit them, get them on that. Someone in the chiropractic office's family gets licensed with us, and then the financial service arm is birthed. What about dry cleaners? Ask us how to get the stains out of your finances, right? Just a little sign up there. Now, and how about restaurants? Think about restaurants for a second. Okay? Nobody has been hit harder than restaurants in the last 6 months. And so my approach to the restaurant is simply this. Go ask any restaurant owner how much money they normally make on Thursdays between 2 and 3. And they'll probably giggle and laugh and say, 0. That's right, you make about 0. So here's what I would do if I were you. If I own a restaurant, every Thursday at 2 o'clock, I would, actually everyone who comes in all week should get a postcard. So they get their bill at the end of their meal and they get a little postcard. Thursday, 2 o'clock, free How Money Works seminar, all meals, 50% off. So people might come for the half off a meal Thursday at 2. And then besides that, we're going to deliver a free How Money Works seminar. And you know what's never happened if you're a restaurant owner? I'm talking never, ever, 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 is a couple comes in for lunch or dinner and you make $1,000 or $2,000 of profit, or thousands of dollars of profit per month, every month for the rest of your life. Well, that's what can happen now if people see the How Money Works seminar and fill out that questionnaire and check the box, I want help with my finances, and yes, I want an opportunity to make money. So for years, you guys, what we've done, the mistake that we've made is we've talked to small business owners and tried to conform them into the Primerica square box when they are a round peg. Okay, a round peg does not fit well into a square box. Okay, a square peg fits better in a square box. But we don't need to fit a round peg in a square box. We can make our box round, if you will. So what that means is we want to approach small business owners and we want to play off of their strengths. And again, what are their strengths? They are rich in contacts, rich in relationships, rich in their ability to take risks. They're just poor in time. And they probably have a spouse or a kid or multiple kids that may be looking for what they want to do in their life. And the small business owners not want them anywhere near their business because they know it's dead end. Okay, we can launch a whole new entrepreneurship movement in a family of entrepreneurs, but this time it's going to actually provide freedom and finances beyond their wildest dreams. So I just want to encourage you now more than ever. Bill shared and opened up with the stats of how small business owners are doing. Hey, you guys, all I know is small business owners are hanging on by a thread right now. Okay, we need to get to them and get to them quickly because they desperately need what we do. But never forget when you're presenting to them, you got to open up with the words, I want to share a strategy that will sound weird and strange, but it's not. It's not weird. It's not strange. Literally, almost every Fortune 500 company is doing this one thing, and it's their biggest income source. Almost no small business is doing it, and they always struggle and go up and down with the wind and the waves of the economy. So we're here to deliver a real solution. It's not a weird idea. It's not a strange idea. Art delivered it to middle-class families, and it gives them a chance now to make something in their lives. Fortune 500 companies deliver it to themselves. The only category left out was these small business owners, and the only chance they've got is to tap in the money business because there's more money in money than anything else, and there's more money in recruiting and the multiples than anything else, and we can expose them to both. We can show them how to bring leverage and multiples and overrides into a business because they're rich in contacts and they're rich in connections and they're just poor in time. We can show them how to multiply that time and bring them some financial prosperity after years and years and years of struggling. It breaks my heart that 9 out of 10 small business startups won't make it. They won't be around. They won't survive. And now even worse because of this pandemic and this lockdown stuff that's happened. And these small business owners did nothing wrong. They put their lives on the line. They put their family's financial futures on the line, and they risked it all. And most of them have been devastated and wiped out. But I don't know if you've ever gone to Google and just did a search of Abraham Lincoln's life story and how many failures he had and bankruptcies and emotional breakdowns and how many times he lost when he ran for offices, yet he ended up becoming one of the most successful presidents of the United States. Most small business owners get it, that it may not be their first venture that makes it, but this could be one that rewards them for a lifetime through generations to come. So Bill, that's what I wanted to share with everybody. Thanks. I'm here to take any questions if you like.
Well, I'd like to have you comment on something, Asaad. You know, we've all been to church and we've all had communal prayer for the unemployed. And people, but I've never heard one prayer for the small businessman ever.
Yeah.
And another thing is interesting that when you see a going out of business sign, everyone rejoices. I can go in there and buy cheap stuff. We don't realize that they're losing their life savings. And a lot of that life savings is backed up by the equity in their home. So they're not only losing their year's worth of work, their business, and now they're going to lose their home to go out into the workforce that doesn't want them because they have an entrepreneurial mindset. Talk for a minute or two about the compassion we have, heartfelt compassion, to go out there and offer some of these small business people something that will maybe help them survive their business. Their business can stay afloat now, maybe not change businesses. Talk about that for a second.
Yeah, you guys may not understand how having a small business is almost like having a child. If you have a child, you will do everything in your power to not let that child die if that child is sick. And I can tell you that here's the exact true story. When my parents had that business, we knew the writing was on the wall. When I was in my high school years, we knew the business was going under. We were working harder and harder. And of course, every year taking more and more equity out of the homes, getting different types of loans to try to keep that thing alive. And the crazy part is literally a month before I got going in Primerica and a month before our small business collapsed, my dad and my uncle said to me, "Do you have a credit card?" I said, "Yes, I do." "What's the limit?" I said, $5,000. "Do you have a balance?" I said, "No, I don't. I've been trying to pay it off." So would you mind taking the $5,000 advance because they're about to cut off our electricity in our small business. And if they cut off the electricity at the grocery store, all the food will rot. So I went ahead and did it. Hey, I'm part of the family. I worked there since I was 9 years old. It's our child. We want to give this thing every chance to survive. So sure enough, I took $5,000, which was Mount Everest to me at the time. It was like $100 million in my life. And I gave it to the business. We paid the electric bill. And a month later, we couldn't do anything else. The business had collapsed. And there I was stuck with that $5,000 balance on my credit card. So you guys, small business owners are hurting worse than ever right now. And when someone loses their job, they just go get some unemployment and look for another job. No one just loses their small business. They bleed a long, painful death until they finally bleed out. It is exhausting. It's emotionally devastating. It is a scar. It is scarring to a marriage, scarring to relationships with children. It is in every way way worse than you can imagine unless you've been through it. It was a terrible thing to go through. It caused family rifts. All kinds of bad comes out. And that's when we deliver this message of small business owners, we're a beacon of light. We're a beacon of hope, because right now, especially in these times, they don't have any hope. They're waiting for something that's never going to come. And we have the answer to their issues.
You know, it's funny, we never pray for them.
Yeah.
In fact, we rejoice when they go out of business. We don't understand the background there, but we're going to finalize it with this, Asaad. You joined our company to help your family make extra money to provide. And tell us what's happened and what's your business look like today, because you didn't invest any money here. You didn't take out any loans here. You didn't have to open up an office here. You didn't have to hire any employees here. You didn't have to have any inventory here. You have no competition. What's your business look like now when you could have had a small grocery store all these years? What's your business look like now?
Yeah, so true story, you guys. When I was 22, I just graduated my degree in engineering, just got my job. My parents' business just collapsed. My dad's brothers were his partners. And I said to myself, and by the way, everything good or bad that's ever happened in the history of planet Earth happens after the words, I said to myself. Every time of war, every time of peace, every marriage that made it, every marriage that fizzled out, every person that made it big in Primerica, and every person that struggled and quit happens after the words I said to myself. So as a 22-year-old kid, worked at that business. I was 9 years old, loved my family. We were partners. It was never in my name, but it was a part of me, right? I said to myself, I'm going to pay my dad and my uncle's mortgage payment. Okay. It's not normal for a 22-year-old kid for his college graduation present to get, my college graduation was literally 2 mortgage payments that were not mine. As a son of an immigrant family, I remember talking to many financial companies, trying to figure out something to help out my family. And everybody said, no, 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 no. And then this company shows up. A guy invites me to a meeting, okay, because I met him at Chicago Health Club. And check this out, Bill. The day of the meeting, he calls and he cancels on me. Because I can't take you. I'm trying to sell my car and someone's coming to see my car. And the next Monday, Bill, I called that guy. I called Joe Sitar's back. I said, can you please take me to that meeting? And sure enough, he brought me, begrudgingly, he brought me and he never returned again. So for those of you thinking, well, I'm not sure if I'm good enough to make it here, you're better than Joe. You can't say the wrong thing in the right person. I had to remind him to bring me back. He never even bothered returning or getting a license. But today, so I was able to start working part-time on top of my job, making enough money to pay my dad and my uncle's mortgage payment, which is what we do as small business owner families. We stick together. And after that, within 4 months, I quit my engineering career and I made $52,000 my first year, $131 my second year, and been paid $19 million since then. My income is averaging close to $100,000 a month now, and my life and my family's life has literally changed forever. So just beyond grateful to God for this opportunity, for Art's vision, for what this can do to change a family's life. You're muted off, Bill. Yeah.
I was talking to somebody one day, and it was talking about him making $100,000. He said, "I already make 100," and I said, "My 100 is better than your 100. You just told us you make $100,000 a month. Now, there are lawyers that make $100,000 a month. There are doctors that make $100,000 a month, and some business owners. Why is your 100 better than their 100?"
Yeah, that's a great question. And to me, the worst thing I could ever wish on somebody is to be an incredible doctor, an incredible lawyer, an incredible specialist, because the better you get, the more people want to meet with you, not your junior, not your associate, not your partner. They want to meet you. So you can never have time, and you can never have time and money. You can never have freedom and that income. So at Primerica, I'm just so grateful to God. We now have about, I think, 36 physical office locations, about 14 states, and we do about 900 transactions a month helping families out, whether I work or not, allowing me that total freedom of time. The most, every small business owner says these words. Every family out there says these words. It's a broken part of the psyche of the middle class. And the words they always say is, man, there's just not enough time in the day. There's just not enough time in the day. And that's a lie from the pit of hell. Only reason you say that is because you think you have to go do all the work yourself. If Bill and I joined some resources, we hired 5 salaried people for every one of you to go do whatever you need them to do, there'll be a lot more time in your day. The reason Bill Gates is worth $100 billion is not because he's that smart or that good. It's because the last I checked, he's getting paid for 4 million hours a day. If Microsoft has 500,000 employees and they each work 8 hours a day, the guy is getting paid for 4 million hours a day. I think the most dangerous, frightful, scariest place in all of America to be is in a situation where all of your income depends on you having to get up and go to work for it. Because if one day something happens out of your control, you get sick, you get hurt, you're driving and some dum-dum runs a red light and hits you, and now you can't leave your bed in a year or two. So my question for that doctor, for that lawyer, for anybody out there, that small business owner, if you think your business is so good and your income so good, if you're driving tomorrow and some dum-dum runs a red light and hits you and you can't leave your bed for 1 or 2 or 3 years, what happens to your income then? Because I know what's going to happen to Bill's income. I know what's going to happen to my income. It'll just keep on going up. But what's going to happen to yours? So the only correct measurement of the quality of a business venture is how much it makes and can it grow without the owner's involvement. And that's what you have a chance to do here. You can go to work here and you can start a movement of recruiting and training people who recruit and train people who recruit and train people in this unlimited market. Listen, we're not asking you to recruit just so you can make money. We're asking you to recruit because there's a massive problem of people being underserved. At the same time, this massive problem exists. There's today 3 million doctors and nurses. There's 2 million lawyers. There's 1 million realtors. There's only 300 some thousand people in our field, and the average age is 62, and they're doing a lot of golfing, fishing, and boating, but they're not working. We need new blood in this field. There's a shortage of people in our industry. We're recruiting and training to recruit and train to solve the problem of the fact there's more households for us to see than we've got time to go see. So welcome, the greatest opportunity I've ever seen in my life as far as hours you put in, how much you can help people make a difference, and how much money you can make, because there is more money and money than anything else. This is the only place out there you can have ownership in the money business and at the same time attract and retain the highest caliber of people out there, because you can offer them ownership too. Bill doesn't have to worry about me looking for another financial service job because I own this thing. I don't got to worry about Ian getting swiped away from State Farm or Merrill Lynch because we own this thing. You get to bring in great people and never worry about them leaving because you get to offer them ownership too. And by the way, all these small business owners you're talking about, their entire life can be summed up in this. None of their employees care at all, and they got to do everything to make sure everything's done right because nobody cares. Bill never called me to say to make sure that you fill out these applications correctly. Don't forget to process this, and don't forget to, owners take care of their stuff. And here we groom ownership. And it's a dream to small business owners once they understand that.
Asaad, I wish we had hours. A lot of people say, yeah, but you make $1 million a year, but how many employees do you have? Employees. How many?
I got 2 employees. And our profit margin's darn close to 95%, which is a blessing. Yeah. And so
95% of your cash flow stays in your pocket.
That's right.
Well, how much loans have you got at the bank that for inventory and for growth and everything else?
We can now afford to pay cash for our staples when we need one. We require no loans to do what we do.
Zero.
Loans is the hindrance. It's the noose around the neck of most small business people. The only way they know to grow their income is to go borrow more money and expand and take 10 times the risk, because they can't be in 2 places at the same time. It's a horrible way to try to grow your income.
And the last thing I'll ask you, Asaad, is how many sleepless nights have you had in all the years you've been with us compared to a small business owner having sleepless nights?
Yeah, the bottom line is it was so stressful and tough, not just on me, but on people I loved. I remember one day, this caused me sleepless nights, and it wasn't even because of me. I know that my father loved me with all of his heart. I remember I was a senior in high school. I came out of my bedroom, and the same old my father came out of his bedroom. We met in the hallway. And I said, Dad, a lot of kids are applying for colleges, and I want to do the same thing. Is there any money for my college? I know my dad loved me with all of his heart, and he would have given me anything, including the shirt off his back. I remember like yesterday, he looked down at his shoes and said, well, there's always student loans. That hurt me, but I know it hurt him 100 times more than it hurt me. And guess what? If a small business owner has kids, psychologically, the kids, worse than the kids not having anything from their parents, the worst that can happen to kids psychologically is knowing that their parents are financially unstable. And one day they'll have to take care of them. And the bottom line is, I know that hurt my dad deeply. I'm so grateful for this opportunity that I've been able to more than deliver for my parents and my wife and children and still live a dream life and be completely and totally free.
I got to keep asking you. Asaad, one last thing. Once you got in this business, where did your dad work?
Great question. So I worked for him since I was 9. And then the month the store collapsed, I got a small little office, and my dad was going to come in and become my office manager processor, and he came to work with me. And my dad worked with me literally until the day that he died. He loved it. He always said the words, I feel like I'm a king. I feel like I'm a king. Just the fact that he can come in and sit down, not be on his feet for 78 hours a week was a dream to him. And the fact that I can say I worked with my father since I was 9 years old. First in his business, which was a total nightmare and catastrophe. Then in our business, where he gleamed with joy watching his kid prosper and did everything in his power to help me. But there's a lot of power and joy and fulfillment that comes from a true family business. Okay, I believe that God created the family unit to be like a tribe, to come together, to do together, to live life together. And it breaks my heart how many families are running in multiple different directions and pursuing different things in different areas. And I love the fact that today, my cousin Tommy, that otherwise I would never speak to, is a regional vice president directing in San Diego, California. My two sons, Blake and Billy, Blake's already licensed, a regional leader. I'm doing appointments for him every day while he's at college. He's prospecting and stuff and setting up Zoom meetings for me. And my son Billy's got a team of about 5 or 6 people down here already. And my daughter Chloe's already recruiting her boyfriend as we speak, who turns 18 in March. So I love the fact that my wife, who has a master's degree in teaching, who said to herself, because I have a master's degree and because I can make 70, 80 grand a year as a school teacher, and this is what she said to herself before she ever met me, I guess I'll be working until I'm 65 years old. There's no way I can ever afford to give up 70 or 80 grand a year. And the minute we had our first child, she retired, and she retired at the 9.5-year mark of teaching. And all of her teacher friends said, are you nuts? You're almost totally vested and have your tenure and all that stuff. You got to stay 6 months. What are you doing? Are you out of your mind? She goes, I think we'll be okay. And sure enough, she doesn't miss it one darn bit. She'd much rather teach and educate our children and our future grandchildren than other people's kids. So in every single way, it's been a dream. I remember, so we put our kids in private school, but one year we wanted to do a lot of traveling. I've always wanted to go to Australia for a month, but their summer, December through February. So we homeschooled for a year. And my wife didn't want to homeschool, so we hired like 3 tutors. And that year we traveled. We went to Australia for a month. We went to Hawaii for a couple of weeks. We went to the South. We went to the West Coast, California, and Hoover Dam. I couldn't get my kids to stop swearing at the Hoover Dam. I don't know why. So Hoover Dam, and then the Grand Canyon. We took them all over the country and all over the world. My kids have been on, I think, 15 cruises in Europe 5 times, and my kids have ordered chicken strips in Venice, right next to the water. I don't know why they ordered chicken strips, but that's a whole other story. But we've done all these kind of things that never would have happened had I had this exact income in any other opportunity. Okay, and never would have happened even like any other opportunity, because I would never have this kind of income, this kind of freedom.
Asaad, if you and Lois fall off a cliff tomorrow, which is kind of hard to do in Florida, what happens to your business?
That's a great question. And what's awesome about this is I haven't met my grandkids because we don't have any yet. I haven't met my great grandkids, but this 100,000 a month will continue to grow for my children, for my grandkids, for my great grandkids, and on for at least 100, 200 more years until Jesus comes back. And that's so rewarding. Like, Bill, I'll close with this. I was sat down by a wise guy in the Primerica office when I was just getting started. And I had my engineering career, I had my engineering job, I had my student loan debt to prove it, and this Primerica was a shiny object in front of me. And the guy sat me down and said, you're probably confused. You spent all this time getting this degree, you got this job, and now the way you talk and train, it's like you want to quit your job, you're probably confused. I said, a little bit. He said, let me just make it simple for you. You have a choice in life. One choice is you can work in many places. And every time you work your butt off for a week, they'll pay you for that week, but they'll never pay you for that week ever again. He said, or you can come here. And every time you work your butt off for a week, we're going to pay you well for that week. But we're going to pay you for that week every single month for decades and decades and decades, and then to your children and children's children and children's children. So now, which one do you want? And is it more clear for you? And that changed my life.
Well, you changed a lot of lives today, Asaad. I can't tell you what it means. And I wish we could interview you forever, because you not only you have freedom of money, time, but you also have freedom of speech regarding your faith. And that's a whole nother subject where you can be your witness for all you want, and no one's going to stop you. All right, everybody. Thank you very much, Asaad. This was outstanding. And all those folks today are small business owners. Get back to the person that invited you on this call and see how your future can be just like Asaad's. See you next time. Thank you, Asaad.
Thank you, guys.